Remember those old cartoons where Scrooge McDuck swam in a vault of gold coins? Well, gold is making a comeback, its price is skyrocketing, and some people are whispering, is this the end of the US dollar as we know it? Hold your horses, Scrooge, it's not that simple. But the relationship between gold and the dollar is definitely worth a closer look. The thing about gold is, it's shiny. But more importantly, it's been valuable for centuries. People see it as a safe haven, especially when the economy gets a little wobbly. And lately, the global economy has been doing the jitterbug on a tightrope, so naturally investors are running towards gold like it's a giant, comforting security blanket woven from 24-karat thread. Why the sudden love affair with gold? Well, picture this. The global economy is feeling a bit like a dodgy carnival ride right now. You know, the kind where you're not sure if the safety bar is going to hold, and every twist and turn makes you question your life choices. Inflation is soaring faster than a sugar-crazed toddler on a trampoline. It's like every time you think it can't go any higher, it bounces up again, leaving you dizzy and disoriented. The stock market is doing its best impression of a roller coaster designed by a sadist. One moment you're climbing to exhilarating heights, and the next, you're plummeting into a gut-wrenching drop with no end in sight. And then there's the whole impending recession thing looming overhead like a rain cloud full of economic despair. It's as if the storm is just waiting to unleash its fury, and everyone is bracing for impact. In times like these, people freak out. Investors, business owners, and everyday folks alike start to panic, scrambling to find a way to protect their assets and their future. It's like the financial equivalent of wanting to crawl under the covers and hide until it all blows over. The uncertainty and fear can be overwhelming, making it hard to see a way out. And what's the economic equivalent of a warm, fuzzy blanket? You guessed it, gold. This precious metal has been a trusted store of value for centuries, offering a sense of security when everything else feels unstable. It's seen as a safe haven asset, something that holds its value even when the financial world is going bonkers. In the midst of chaos, gold stands firm, providing a beacon of hope and stability for those looking to safeguard their wealth. Let's not forget about our old friend, inflation. Remember when you could buy a gallon of milk without needing a small loan? Those were the days. Inflation erodes the value of money over time, so that dollar you have today is worth less than it was yesterday. Thanks, inflation, you're a real pal. Now, what does this have to do with gold? Well, gold is often seen as an inflation hedge. Unlike paper money, you can't just print more gold. Well, you could try, but good luck with that. Its supply is relatively limited, so when inflation rises, the price of gold tends to go up as well. It's like a seesaw of financial anxiety. Now let's talk about the US dollar. It's been the world's reserve currency for decades, like the popular kid in school that everyone wants to be friends with. But lately the dollar has been feeling a little less popular. Its value has been slipping, and that's partly due to the whole printing money like it's going out of style thing we discussed earlier. When the dollar weakens, it can make gold more attractive to investors. Why? Because gold is priced in US dollars. So if the dollar is worth less, you need more of them to buy the same amount of gold. It's like trying to buy a pizza with monopoly money. You're going to need a lot more of it. Section 5. Gold versus dollar. A historic rivalry. The relationship between gold and the US dollar is a tale as old as time, or at least as old as the Federal Reserve. You see, the dollar used to be tied to gold. Back in the good old days of the gold standard, you could actually exchange your paper money for a shiny chunk of the good stuff. But those days are long gone. In 1971, President Nixon decided to ditch the gold standard like a bad habit. The dollar was free to roam the financial world untethered to its golden anchor. And while some argue this gave the US economy more flexibility, it also meant that the dollar's value could fluctuate more wildly. Section 6. Geopolitical games. Gold on the chessboard. Let's not forget about the geopolitical drama unfolding on the world stage. It's a complex and ever-changing landscape filled with power plays and strategic moves. Remember that whole global uncertainty thing we talked about earlier? Yeah, that's not helping. The uncertainty is like a dark cloud hanging over the global economy, affecting everything from stock markets to international trade. From trade wars to actual wars, the world is feeling a bit like a powder keg waiting to explode. Trade tensions between major economies, regional conflicts, and political instability are all contributing to a sense of unease. And guess what people turn to when they're feeling a little bit on edge? They look for something stable, something that has stood the test of time. Yep, you guessed it, gold. Gold has always been seen as a safe haven in times of crisis. When the world feels uncertain, people invest in gold to protect their wealth. But here's where it gets interesting. The dynamics of the gold market are changing. Countries are also buying gold, lots of it. Central banks around the world are increasing their gold reserves, seeing it as a way to safeguard their economies, especially those who are a tad skeptical of the US dollar's long-term prospects. They are looking for alternatives to diversify their holdings. They're diversifying their reserves, stockpiling gold like it's going out of style. This trend is particularly noticeable in emerging markets, where economic volatility is a constant concern. It's all part of a grand geopolitical chess match, with gold as one of the key pieces. In this high-stakes game, every move counts, and gold is a critical asset that can influence the balance of power. Section 7. The BRICS are restless, a new gold standard. Speaking of countries skeptical of the US dollar, let's talk about the BRICS. That's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, in case you were wondering. They're like the cool kids table in the global cafeteria, and they're not afraid to challenge the status quo. They've been increasingly vocal about their desire for a more multipolar world, one where the US dollar isn't the only game in town. Some speculate that they might even be considering a new gold-backed currency. Now this is where things get really interesting. A gold-backed currency would in theory be more stable than a fiat currency like the US dollar. But it would also limit a country's ability to print money willy-nilly. Historically, the gold standard was used to back currencies, providing a tangible asset that currencies were pegged to. This system was believed to offer greater economic stability and prevent hyperinflation. However, most countries abandoned the gold standard in the 20th century, favoring more flexible monetary policies. The BRICS nations, with their growing economic clout, are now revisiting this idea. They argue that a gold-backed currency could enhance trust in global trade and reduce dependency on the US dollar. It could also provide them with greater economic sovereignty and control over their monetary policies. But there are significant challenges to this idea. For one, the amount of gold reserves required to back a currency is substantial. Additionally, it could reduce the flexibility that governments have in responding to economic crises. The global financial system is complex, and any shift towards a new gold standard would have far-reaching implications. Whether the BRICS will move forward with this idea remains to be seen, but it's certainly a development worth watching. As the BRICS nations continue to grow in influence, their decisions could reshape the future of global finance. One thing is clear, the global economic landscape is evolving, and the BRICS are at the forefront of this change. Section 8. Should you invest in gold? Probably not financial advice. So, with all this talk about gold, you might be wondering if you should invest. Well, that's a tricky question. I'm a comedian, not a financial advisor. Investing in gold can be risky, its price can be volatile, and there's no guarantee it will go up. It's like playing the stock market, but with a shiny rock. That being said, some people believe that gold can be a good hedge against inflation and economic uncertainty. If you're considering investing in gold, do your research, talk to a financial advisor, and remember that past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Section 9. The future of money. A crystal ball made of gold. So what does the future hold for gold and the US dollar? Is this the beginning of the end for the dollar's reign as the world's reserve currency? Honestly, nobody knows. The global economy is a complex beast, and predicting its future is about as accurate as trying to predict the weather 6 months in advance. One thing is for sure. The relationship between gold and the US dollar will continue to be a fascinating one to watch. As the world grapples with economic uncertainty, geopolitical tensions, and the ever-evolving landscape of money itself, both gold and the dollar will likely play a significant role in shaping the financial future. Section 10. Conclusion. Don't bury your dollars in the backyard just yet. Look, the dollar might be feeling a little less shiny these days, but it's not time to panic and bury all your cash in the backyard just yet. Gold might be having its moment in the sun, but its future is far from certain or guaranteed. The global economy is a fickle beast, and only time will tell what the ultimate outcome will be. But one thing's for sure, It's going to be an interesting and unpredictable ride.
So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and let's turn the page on a new adventure together. Get ready to experience books like never before, only on VBook 360. Like, comment, and share to support the channel and keep the video magic alive. Thank you for stopping by. And remember, every video has a story, and every story deserves to be shared. See you in the next video.